News this evening. Organized labor declares nationwide strike. Police restrict movement ahead of off-cycle elections. Port Harcourt residents concerned over hike in transportation fare. Presidency warns against hoarding foreign currencies. On the foreign scene, Portugal Prime Minister resigns over corruption scandal. I am Constance Mega. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) have declared a nationwide strike from Tuesday next week, 14th November. The unions took the decision today during an extraordinary National Executive Council in Abuja. They said their action is based on the attack of the NLC National President Joe Ajero last week in Imo State. Moving on, a former lawmaker, Cletus Obum, says the party constitution only recognizes the state party chairman as leader of the PDP in the state. Of the party in the state. Mr. Obum was reacting to the statement by the Rivers State Commissioner for Housing that the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, remains the leader of the PDP in Rivers State. Mr. Cletus Obum spoke to our correspondent.
The party constitution is very clear about executive positions, principal officers, which you call committee, either at the state, at the ward, or at the zonal, or at the national level. The person who leads the party at all times is the party chairman. It was a constitution that originated from Obasanjo. They introduced. There is nowhere. It's not constitutional. It is not convention. It is just an introduction of an extraneous activity and action that has no bearing whatsoever with any party.
Recall that the Commissioner for Housing in Rivers State, Gift Walu, said the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, remains the leader of the PDP in the state. He spoke on Nigerian 4FM's Morning Crossfire today.
There's one leader of the party in the state, and that is the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Chief Ian Wike. The governor is the governor, and by being governor, he becomes part of the highest level of leadership.
Analyst Obin Nwadim has bared his mind on what political structure means to the average politician in Nigeria. Dr. Nwadim spoke to our correspondent.
Well, to an average Nigerian politician, the political structure are those mechanisms put in place that he uses to ride on to power. And for a typical politician, once he loses his structure, then he is out of power. And so no politician would want to lose his structure. And so he does everything within his power to make sure that he retains and he keeps his political structure.
Well, Dr. Nwadi, who is a lecturer in the Department of Political and Administrative Studies at the University of Port Harcourt, also spoke on ways to stop a repeat of the current political crisis in Rivers State.
Presently, we have a weak civil society. Until we have a strong civil society, the present scenario that is playing out will continue to play out. So we expect that Nigerian Rivers people should actually be conscious of the political development in the land and be active participants in order to bring dividends of democracy to the people.
Well, last week, Tuesday, former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, told visiting leaders from the Niger Delta that he would not allow anyone to hijack a political structure he had spent years building. Well, his comment follows the impeachment notice served on Governor Siminalayi Fubara by the Rivers State House of Assembly, a move many believe was instigated by former Governor Wike. In other news now, some motorists along the Obiwali Road in Rumigbo, Obiakpoloku government area say they are not happy with the deplorable condition of the road. Well, some of them tell correspondent Suibio Ruwari that the road is fast becoming a death trap.
The road has been very bad, and for so many years now we have been trying to patch it every year. It still remains bad, and the road was initially awarded by NDTC and it was abandoned. We appreciate if they revisit this our road.
All efforts made by the community to see that the job is re-awarded, the contractor come back to site was aborted. Know the capacity of the commission, present MD.
So we tried as much as we could to see, writing letters, sending delegates. We used to hold prayers for
Also, some residents in Salvation Avenue along Obiwali Road are asking the management of the NDDC to revisit the road after it was abandoned by the contractor handling it. Our correspondent reports that the Obiwali Road is one of the major routes to the East-West Road and Ikwere axis of Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt residents have continued to express concern over the continued hike in transportation due to the recent increase in petrol pump prices across the country. Our correspondent spoke to some commuters along the old Port Harcourt Township, Aba Road and Ada George axis. Well, the respondents say they now pay 3 times the amount for transportation. They also say they do not expect any positive change as the government seems not to be interested in attending to the plight of the citizens.
Because everybody knows everything is high now. Every my motor now have already packed because of fuel. Even this December, we don't know whether people can be able to travel again. So.
Where I enter from my house to work before it was 100 naira. Now, if you want to enter the transport, you'll be hearing conductor saying 200. We're actually working to make ends meet, not to spend it all on transportation.
From here to my house at Tumbi Extension, I take 1,000, sometimes 900. But now it's 1,004. Went to Lagos last month. I spent 127,000. Before it's 15,000. I'm going to buy some goods. Everything added price.
Well, in April, the price of petrol stood at about 254 naira per litre, and following the announcement of subsidy removal, the cost per litre increased to around 500 naira. And currently, the price of a litre of petrol now ranges between 600 naira and 670 naira. Still to come, police restrict movement ahead of off-cycle elections. Stay tuned.
Do you need a professional caregiver to care for your
affair? Well, Dr. Jonathan said this when a delegation of the party visited him in Yenagoa today. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, has announced the restriction of movement in land and sea in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states starting from Friday. The force spokesman Olumuyiwa Adejobi announced this while addressing journalists in Abuja today. The police also barred some state security outfits like a Bubago and another Kwasi outfit from carrying out operations during the exercise. The police boss said both marine and gunboats have been deployed in the 3 states, considering the riverine terrain of the states. In business, the special advisor to the president on economic matters, Tokwe Faswa, says President Bola Tinubu's administration is working on policies that will strengthen the naira. But Faswa also cautioned Nigerians who are hoarding foreign currencies that the policies of the government would shock them.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa says he has handed his resignation to the president after investigators searched his official residence in an inquiry into alleged corruption. He said he has not been named as a suspect but believes the inquiry was incompatible with staying in office. And that's the news, but before we go, let's take a look at the highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that the organized labor has declared a nationwide strike from 14th of November. Police have announced restriction of movement ahead of the off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi states. Port Harcourt residents are concerned over the hike in transportation fare. And the presidency is warning against hoarding foreign currencies. On the foreign scene, Portugal Prime Minister has resigned over a corruption scandal. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. My name is Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening.